Hi, welcome to another episode of Job Hunting Essentials. In today's episode, we'll be talking about impact of personal branding. So before we come talk about personal branding, let's do a simple exercise. I'll be showing a bunch of photos and tell me what's the first thought that comes to your mind. Let's start with a picture of Lamborghini. What's the first thought that comes to your mind? In my head, it's a luxury car. It's usually owned by like very rich people. It's kind of a status symbol for someone who's really rich. And then a picture of a Costco. So for those of you who aren't aware of Costco, Costco is like a big wholesale retail brand here in the US. So what's the first thought that comes to your mind about Costco? In my head, it's a very good value for money place. You get more value for the items that you pay in that place. And then, what about this person? Is this Conan O'Brien? And the first thought in my head is that he's a comedian. He's pretty good in making like he makes me laugh. He's a very good comedian. So, what's common across these three thoughts that come to your mind about these three different things? The thoughts are nothing but the brand that has been etched in your mind by these different products through advertising, through various sources that these particular companies have worked very hard to build that brand value for themselves. So, what's your professional brand? So, I know there's a lot of these commercial products that have brand, but do human beings, like do regular professionals like you and me, do we have a professional brand? The best way to know about that is to ask your colleague, like, what's the first thought that comes to their mind when they have to describe something about you. Typically, this tends to be like, you're a very collaborative person, you have very good attention to detail, you have a good knack of looking at a big picture, you have a solid machine learning knowledge and stuff like that. And sometimes if you ask this to be like, given in a more anonymous setting, you may also get some negative comments as well. But at the end of the day, that's the kind of brand that you have built among the people who are working with you. And this is what I would label as a professional brand. That's a set of attributes and the qualities that you get associated with. Now, you really cannot control like what others think about you, isn't it? Like it's their opinions. But can we really control? Is there nothing to do about it? I definitely think we can control it. This is the personal brand is something. Yes, it's their own opinions, but you definitely have a say in how these personal branding gets perceived. Now, why is personal branding really important? I know a long common idea is to not really care about like what others think about you and just keep going at it at what you're doing. Right? I still do like subscribe to that idea, but still personal branding can play an important role in your career growth. So it is something to keep in mind. Why does this matter? The first thing is whether you like it or not, everyone forms an opinion about you with whatever information they have about you. And you have also done that about other people. Like that's just a very natural human tendency, right? And advertising the way you want to be known or perceived in a professional setting is something that's going to influence the people's perception of you. And this influencing act can play an important role in you finding the next big job opportunity or you being considered for another very high impact project or a leadership role. So, by all means, I think taking an active effort to build a personal brand is going to help you a lot in your career. And that's my personal opinion. And in this particular series, we are focusing on job hunt, right? So, what's the impact of personal brand in with respect to job hunt? In the job hunt setting, your employer is trying to make an opinion on whether you're going to be a fit for this job or not with very little information. They have not worked with you for several years. All they have is a piece of paper on a resume with a few bunch of information. And they have to be building an opinion about you. Yes, there's a lot of work that goes into like not having a biased opinion and making sure that you are objectively like figuring out whether a person is going to be fit for a job or not, but an opinion always gets formed. And unfortunately, in a lot of times there may be room for unconscious bias that may or may not be in your favor. Sometimes like when there's not much to really form an opinion about you, uh, then it leaves room for a chance of, let's say, forming a stereotype based on, let's say, your race, your gender, your previous alumni, universities or college. And that's not always going to be a great thing. So advertising the skills, advertising the way you believe you need to be perceived professionally is going to help set the tone and set the personal brand for yourself, so that there's more, it influences the person on the other end to think of you in a particular direction that you're trying to like portray. And that has a very good effect in terms of you making further better strides in your job market, in your job hunt. uh, and all in all, this again comes back to my previous videos that I've been like talking about. Like, owning the narrative is a very influential step that you can take, and that has a big impact on how others perceive you and helps you put a better profile in front of others, especially in this job market. So with this, I hope I have like give convinced you why personal branding matters and why it's important to you, especially in this job hunting situation. In the next video, we'll be talking about how to build this personal brand and dive more into those details. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much.